Hi, this is Joe again with another review. I know haven't done a review for a while because I've been kind of lax with that because I've been busy campaigning for my college board. So I've been a little lax of doing this movie reviews. I took a lot of time, and besides that, the material is few and far between, so it took some time off. Much needed time off to campaign for the board election and kind of recharge my batteries a little bit for doing these reviews. So I'm back doing a review for this in this video. I'm going to be discussing the 1992 film The Bodyguard, which the time of the year doing this video it is kind of scary because it's kind of so iconic. It gets parodied a little bit because of obvious plot. It's a stereotypical plot. But the movie, of course, was Kevin Costner and the late great smoking hot Whitney Houston, and she was hot in this movie. I mean, who wouldn't fall in love with Whitney Houston in this after watching her performance in this film? For this movie is more in the point of view of Kevin Costner's character, who plays a guy named Frank Farmer. This is his name. I'm not kidding. Who plays a former not CIA, Secret Service agent, who now works as a bodyguard, and he doesn't stay that long in wherever he is. He just stay there for a few months. Does temporary jobs for here and there for various heads of state or whoever's willing to, some corporate jerks or whatever, and that's it. He doesn't do celebrities. Well, one of manager for Whitney Houston's character, played Rachel, decides to hire him for a job, and he goes, "Look, I don't do celebrities. Celebrities are like prima donnas and all that stuff." So, at first he didn't want to do it, and then eventually he takes over the job because he goes to Rachel's house. He noticed it was so easy to get into a house. So, okay, I'm going to take the job because I want to improve the security, improve the house, and that's exactly what he does. And while all this stuff was going on, he slowly falls in love with Whitney Houston's character. And of course, in Whitney Houston, she was like at times, she was like a total bitch. And other times, she was like a sweet, sensitive soul. And other times, like it just says, she was a total bitch. And at first, she hated Frank, and then of course falls in love with him, and then of course curses him out every time he tries to protect her, because she has one of those crazy stalkers who sends her letters saying, "I'm going to kill you," and all that stuff. You have everything, and I have nothing, and I'm going to take whatever you got. And of course, when the point where Whitney Houston's sister gets killed by this whack job. Spoiler, those of you who have not seen this movie, like, where have you been for the last 25 years? The sister gets killed, and Whitney Houston's son almost dies. I mean, she does have a young son. In this movie, he kind of like warms up to Frank, and not Whitney Houston at first. Of course, there was one sequence where they actually do go on, when Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston go on a date, and of course at the end they end up having sex, which is, it's an applied sex scene, because they actually physically see him actually doing it. But it's like the morning after, and she's, naked in bed, she has the sheets up to here on her, and she goes, "Oh, you can protect me, but you can't fuck me." I mean, she actually says that, excuse my language, she actually says that line in the movie. And of course, you're trying to figure out who is stalking her. And of course, you find out that her sister, before she got killed, admits that she had a guy who pretended to, send letters and stuff. And that guy actually did get arrested. And why do you do that? Because I wanted my sister dead. I actually hired somebody to go whack her sister. Because she felt, or the sister felt, when you hear the sister felt, that Whitney stole all her thunder. because she started the band first, and then Whitney came in, and she became the store and assistant then, and she had everything that I should have had, and that's why he just did the letters just to scare her, to back off of some stuff, and to kill and to have her killed, and now all this shit is coming down on us, and I hope you get this guy, because the guy said only was really supposed to send some letters, and all of a sudden was to kill her. And of course, he's trying to find out, trying to figure out who is the one who wants to kill Whitney Houston, Rachel. And of course, you find out there was another former Secret Service agent, which you met earlier in the film, and he was the one who was going to kill Whitney. Because Whitney Houston's character was in this big movie called Queen of the Night, and that was one of the songs was from the movie, and I'm going to get to the soundtrack in a minute. And of course at the Oscars, she was like actually not only nominated for a bunch of awards. She was nominated for the best song, which won, which was the song I Have Nothing. That was the song that's for the movie, and I'll also get into that in a minute as well. Of course, Whitney's character Rachel was also nominated for Best Actress, and which she of course wins, and she goes up on stage for the Best Actress award, and that's when the guy decides to take her out. And of course, Kim Kardashian runs on the stage, dives, does like a football tackle, really. And after that, saves her, and then he pulls out a gun. He ends up getting Kevin Costner's character gets shot in the shoulder, and Kevin Costner pulls out his gun and shoots the guy and kills him, and that's and then of course this movie ends with this famous scene in the airport, the private airport, and they kiss, and they have Whitney has somebody new now as a bodyguard, and they said goodbye, and he's working for, and then Kevin Costner was working for somebody else now, and she goes into then Whitney goes into a limo, gets out, runs to Kevin Costner, kisses him, and of course while that's going on, you hear the song, Whitney Houston's version of I Will Always Love You, and that's how the movie ends. The problem is with this movie is, of course, you don't know why this guy wants to kill Whitney. I mean, you do have that little confession, but Rachel's sister in the film. Rachel is the name of the character that Whitney Houston plays. The confession for the killer. You had that little confession scene, but I didn't think this guy was really hot, because he had no real confession from this guy. Except for the stuff that the sister did, you really don't know. At least to me, it wasn't good enough of a reason why this guy wanted to kill Whitney. I mean, he had absolutely no reason to kill him, except for maybe getting hired to do it from Whitney's sister. But that's it. I mean, you don't. It was him. That's what a lot of people were complaining about. Was it the scene wasn't a good enough motivation for the guy, or the former Secret Service guy, to kill Whitney? I mean, what's his motivation to do it, except maybe getting paid, like I said. But it's not. That's why it was lame. That's why that part of the storyline was kind of like lame, in my opinion. But for the movie itself, of course, the movie became a huge hit. When it came out 25 years ago, it was a huge hit. What was bigger than the movie was, of course, the soundtrack. I mean, the soundtrack is the biggest selling soundtrack of all time. And when he told my father that, he goes, "Come on, more than Dirty Dancing?" As a matter of fact, it beat Dirty Dancing's record. Dirty Dancing was the biggest selling movie soundtrack of all time. And then the Bodyguard came out. Most of the songs were like, except for I Will Always Love You, were all original songs written for the movie for Whitney Houston to sing. And of course, with the powerful voice that she had, and she was like the hottest star at the time, at least at the time the movie came out. So, because of her voice and all the powerful song, and there were powerful songs from that soundtrack, propelled it to the top of the selling charts. I mean, I don't think you're going to. You can see Titanic like 5 years later. But it's more of an instrumental soundtrack, and it is the highest selling instrumental movie soundtrack. But the one with just straight songs on is the Bodyguard. Has the biggest selling movie soundtrack of all time, and I'm one of the few who don't have that soundtrack. But of course, you have "I Have Nothing," "Queen of the Night," and of course, "I Will Always Love You." That's the three big songs from the movie. Now, to touch on what I referred to earlier, the thing with I Have Nothing" won the Academy Award for Best Song instead of "I Will Always Love You," which is the mega hit song from the Bodyguard. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that was "I Will Always Love You" wasn't even nominated for Best Song for that year. The reason for that is that "I Will Always Love You" is not an original song written specifically for the movie. And I think there was a stink with that because people wanted that movie to be nominated because it was the biggest hit of the movie, and that's the song that, other than "I Have Nothing," that's the other song that everybody remembers and everybody knows that the Whitney Houston version was played to death on the radio. I mean, people got sick of the song from Titanic from Celine Dion. People got sick of that song too because it played almost every single day, almost every hour, in any radio station. The song was being played, and so it was constant. People would sing, with her screaming, "I will always love you." I'm not singing the song, guys. But the problem was that "I Will Always Love You" was actually originally written and originally recorded by Dolly Parton. So because it was recorded earlier by Dolly Parton, it was also recorded by somebody else. Because there was another version of that song also on the song, sung by a guy. I don't know who sang originally in the movie before. The version where Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston were dancing in the bar, and that song was being played on the jukebox. So Whitney was complaining about the depressing song that was, and then meanwhile her version was the one that everybody. Her version of "I Will Always Love You" was the song that everybody remembers. But because it was already written and recorded earlier, and not written specifically for the film, or used for the film. Well, obviously it was used for the film. I mean, specifically written and recorded for the movie. And he said, forget. The Academy was not going to recognize it, even though I think it won the Grammy for Song of the Year. I think I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it won the Grammy for Song of the Year, even though it didn't get the Academy Award for Song of the Year. But I Have Nothing won for the Academy Award, and of course and I think the album itself actually became one of the first, and not the first, movie soundtrack to win for Best Album at the Grammy Awards. So there's a little bit of trivia for that. And of course, the reason why Whitney Houston even got this role, because originally it was supposed to be somebody else, and they were looking for somebody else other than Whitney to do this part, and Kevin Costner was the one who suggested it at Ford to get Whitney Houston to play this character, and I think it was the best thing for the movie that Kevin Costner got. And if anybody else played that part, I don't think it would be good. And this was the first movie role that Whitney Houston ever had. Even though she had a couple of other movies after that, there were 2 or 3 other ones. This was the movie that was the whole iconic role, so to speak. And it's definitely the best job. I mean, I don't remember if she was even nominated for an Oscar for this, but she should have been. If she wasn't, she should have been, because she did a terrific job on this. And of course, all you pervs out there, you could check out her body in that movie, because there was one scene where she was wearing a jogging bra, so you see her midriff, you see her tummy, her bare stomach in a scene, and I guess she was like jogging in the movie, so you see her midriff, and of course, you check out her body. I mean, she was before Whitney Houston became a singer when she was a teenager, she was a model. So of course, that's what you know, she had to have a smoking hot figure. But unfortunately, the sad point is, of course, that she was passed away a couple of years ago, and everybody, of course, remembers the Bodyguard more than I think. She also did Rain for Exhale, and she also recorded a song for that. And I think she also did a movie with Denzel Washington as well. But this was the movie that Whitney Houston made, and this was her. She was great in it. Kevin Costner was also very good in it. But just to see Whitney, I mean, she was hot. She was so smoking hot in this movie. I think a lot more guys were attracted to Whitney Houston because she was so hot and so beautiful and stunning in this movie. Even though she has a fresh mouth at times, with the cursing, but it's worth seeing this movie. Even though the plot, I mean, like I said earlier, motivation of the guy to kill Whitney was lame. It was practically non-existent, really. And so I watched it originally when it came out, and then just recently watched it just last night. So I figured and did watch it once, and I said, okay, fine, I watched it once. But naturally, of course, I wanted to refresh my memory to do this review, so I just happened to see it last night, and figured, okay, what's the motivation for this guy other than the obsessed? And originally there was the other character who was like an obsessed stalker who has all the kind of pictures in his locker and stuff, and you thought maybe that was him. That might have done it. But no, it was this other former Secret Service guy who was trying to kill her. I mean, really? But I think it was still, the motivation was just not there. And it would have been cooler if you said, okay, he's another Secret Service guy with the two guys battling each other. Instead of leaving the surprise at the end of the movie of who it was. I think if they set it up earlier, like kind of like a James Bond movie, and they set it up a lot earlier, then they knew who it was, and Kevin Costner trying to stop this guy. That would have been a little bit better than having this whole little setup thing with the sister. And the sister paid somebody to kill Whitney. I mean, that would have been better. So kind of like a tit for tat thing, or like a mirror image of Kevin Costner. So Kevin Costner's character went to the left and was good, and then had his other Secret Service guy, the one who was trying to kill Whitney, go make a right turn and say, hey, let's have it like a tit for tat thing, kind of like with the first Pierce Brosnan James Bond film, GoldenEye, where you had the former MI6 agent against James Bond. That was good. There was no seller by halfway through that film. And they did that in this movie, instead of waiting to the last 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. They set this whole thing up, trying to stop this guy. Maybe the plot would have been a little bit better. And meanwhile, the two characters fell in love and got married or something like that. That would have been cool. That would have been damn cool. But I guess maybe it would be too much like a James Bond film, I guess. So it didn't go that way. They waited for the last 10 minutes just to surprise people, and I'm like, but people make fun of that movie because of that. But it is a good movie to watch, and it's entertaining for what it is, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to listen to all the soundtracks and hear Whitney Houston sing. It's always a privilege, when she was with us. So that's my review of the movie The Bodyguard. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it, please subscribe to my channel, and please follow this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos now on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com, that's all WDY, and then c.com. There's a homepage to Rowdy Reviewer, Christine Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.